All right. Hello, folks. Welcome to the Flatcar Community Office Hours. This is the October issue, and I will go straight to the agenda. So I think it's a little tiny. All right. So in the office hours, we have an open for our users and Flatcar use cases and general chat on and around Flatcar. And let's start with our welcoming round. So I see most folks I see are familiar faces. I'm not sharing my screen. That question came up. Just checking the agenda in a separate tab. All right. So let's do the introduction round of the new folks. Most folks I see are basically our regulars, Flatcar maintainers. I see Christian and Martika are new folks. It would be great if you could introduce yourself, maybe starting with Martika.
Hi, this is Neetika. I'm from India and I'm currently a third year student studying computer science and engineering. I got to know about Flatcar from Cyan in the FOSS meetup. After getting reading about what Flatcar does, that really interests me. So I started to join on the Flatcar Slack, and that's how I got into Flatcar.
Awesome. Welcome, Martika. It's great to have you. Christian, how about you?
Yeah, hello together. I was already here during the developer sync 2 weeks ago. I'm a Flatcar user and I have an open ticket with crashing servers with Flatcar running. And maybe we can have a discussion what the good way forward would be with that issue.
All right. Then let me share the agenda with you. And you can just visually have like a few items. Then it's open mic time. And after that, we do the release planning. I think open mic time would be a great opportunity to look at the issue you were mentioning. So let's do it that way. Okay. And we're on the agenda. All right. We did the intro rounds. This is an oldie but oldie. I think we eventually should stop bringing this up here, but it's nice to have the pointer. So we deprecated cgroups v1 in the 2 quarters ago, in late in quarter 2 in 2025. So this has been unstable for a few months. It's with systemd 256 because that version doesn't support cgroups v1s anymore at all. And the legacy cgroup v1 feature that we had previously will be disabled. If you still run cgroups v1 workloads and you use in-place updates, then those nodes will basically reject the update, so your workloads remain safe and you have more time migrating your workloads to cgroups v2. If you need even more time, our LTS 2024 will support cgroups v1 in backwards compatibility mode until roughly early Q2 2026, when it will be replaced by the next LTS. So switch channels to LTS and you're again safe until 2026. All right. And then we have Nebraska breaking changes coming up, and giving the mic to Irvin for that.
Hi, everyone. This was a recurring notification, or let's say warning, for the past 2 months. Finally, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and most probably this week we can release this OpenID Connect change, which brings with itself breaking change as with this latest release. The authentication providers will need to be switched switched to the standard authentication flow. And you should be able to find the migration guide pretty easily. I'm just refining the documentation at flatcar.org as well. So these two these two pages should be helpful for the migration. Although if it's not enough, I will be available on Matrix anytime, so I can answer questions or help with migration, all those kind of things.
Nice, thank you very much, and also for the excellent documentation. That is definitely reassuring. All right, I think we're pretty much through. There's a copy-paste agenda item, FroschCon retrospective, but I think that was from the September meeting. So let's jump over that one. And we have open mic time. So Christian, do you want to bring up the issue that you're encountering?
Yeah, sure. So a colleague of mine created the ticket, but I also commented on it already. We have some servers with Flatcar running that crash from time to time. And we tried the newest Flatcar version. I mean, I had to include one of the patches for cgroup2, but the server still crashed. And the last time in the developer thing, we discussed or had an option to maybe use a really new kernel, like 6.16 or something, to figure out if new kernels don't have this issue anymore. But to be honest, I wasn't able to run Flatcar with a newer kernel. I tried, but I think the patches for the kernel need a bit more adjustment because the kernels evolve, and I'm not aware on how to do that, or not for this limited time. Therefore, the question would be, what can I do? Can I provide any more information? Any more ideas?
Yeah, do you have only Flatcar running on these Intel-based servers?
Yes, it's
okay.
We have those servers only with Flatcar.
That would be interesting to see if you can reproduce this with another OS with the same kernel version or different kernel version, but just to see if it's a kernel issue or OS issue. But yeah.
Yeah, would be interesting, definitely, but I can't reproduce it. So we have many servers running with this version, like 40.
Okay.
And over a week, we get 1 to 5 crashes. It's random. There's no correlation to anything. The stack trace has different processes that cause the crash. I don't think they are really the source of it.
And what is your workload? It's like regular Docker containers or Kubernetes or?
Yeah, it's a Kubernetes cluster with multiple tenants running on it. So I don't really control what exactly is running there. I tried at one point to correlate something, but we run with up to 400 pods on a node because they're fairly big servers. So it's hard to find anything there.
Sorry if it feels like you're repeating yourself. I know you've raised this before.
No
haven't
problem.
forgotten, but yeah, Tilo, I don't think we can get our hands on the power edge, but I feel your pain as well, because I had like random shutdowns with my graphics card on my desktop at home, and it was driving me crazy for months, and it turned out to be the card. But yeah, obviously in this case you're seeing it on several machines. So
yeah, I've checked. They are completely different. It's not like one of the machines crashes more often than the others. And those clusters have also few AMD servers. And maybe we even saw crashes on them, but I don't have the logs anymore. So I'm not even sure anymore if it's on the Intel servers. But the amount of AMD servers is much, much lower. Like roughly 5 of those servers are AMD and over 30 are Intel. So that might be not issue.
If that was the same issue, that is kind of surprising. I'm trying to think what hardware is kind of unique to power edges. That probably quite a few things. The first thing that comes to mind is the network adapter, probably BNX2, but yeah, that's kind of guessing.
I would have to check if all of them have even the same network adapter. Would have to go back through
Yeah,
all the
but then
crashes.
yeah, you're hardly the only person using a power edge. So do you have any thoughts, Tilo?
No, I'm just reading the stack trace, and from little kernel development I know from decades back, that's memory management subsystem.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it seems to vary a lot between different crashes. So
Oh, okay. So, all right.
We can provide more stack traces from more crashes. I mean, we didn't save them all the time because we redeploy the nodes each week and then they are gone.
Because these look very similar. The call traces.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the more traces, the better. To just get back to your question, yes.
And do you have some monitoring systems to see if we can correlate this to memory usage or disk usage or whatever usage?
Yeah, we have, but I couldn't find anything that stands out
Okay.
at that point. I could imagine also that it's a short peak that at least Prometheus metrics won't catch. It's like the server's running totally fine from the logs and then that's gone.
And yeah, I'm not familiar with Power Edge and everything, but so everything is self-hosted. Maybe it's some electrical issues. That could be something. Did you investigate on this? Because I've seen some kernel panics on self-hosted kernel of self-hosted servers when there is some issue with the electricity supply. You can see some weirdness like that.
It happens in different data centers, so I would
Oh,
think
different
of
data
that.
centers. Okay, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Good question though,
I
because
think we
Might be
I
valid.
think we should
can
change like the approach to first test with the latest kernel release and not with the kernel like the LTS kernels. That's like really a different thing.
I think
Because not everything gets backported, and also certain things can regress in this LTS kernel, but they are not a problem then in the latest stable kernel.
okay, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, 6.12 isn't that old, but yeah, I wish we could
You know
do
what I
more.
mean? The way they are patched is different. That's what I mean.
Mm.
Like they're all stable kernels, and it's kind of similar how things are backported, but like the time between the things is a bit longer, of course, when the kernel gets older and older.
It's true. I have seen regressions in LTS kernels before.
So I'm happy to try the newer kernel. I just can't do it. That's where I got stuck.
Yeah, so how we would do this is we prepare the kernel update, and then we get a dev image in the GitHub action CI, and then you can update the server to this update payload that's there with this Flatcar update tool and the developer key command line argument. It gets accepted, and then you reboot the server, and then you're running this newer kernel. So it's just a question of who will prepare this kernel update, because I guess we won't directly merge it anyway, because it won't be the LTS kernel. So I think we need the next kernel release, because that would be the LTS kernel. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to already prepare this, and then there's less work for the final LTS kernel in the year, because it like things that change are already the same anyway. So I think it just makes sense to try this out.
Yeah, I'm just looking for an example of a GitHub action. So we do full OS image builds in CI for the scripts repo, and that's what Kai is referring to.
I mean, the build itself isn't the issue. So if there would be an open pull request with the code changes, I have no issues with building it myself.
Oh, that's nice.
I tried again. I already did another pull request where I built it by myself. Just the code changes themselves are my challenge.
Okay. Is anyone on the call who'd like to take a stab at what's the most recent?
6.17.
17 is really new, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And see if they can get it built on Flatcar and then provide a PR. Kai, what do you think?
I mean, the nasty part is going through all these kernel configs that change, and you have to catch up with all of them in the release in between.
Sorry, this is something I would jump on, but I'm trying to stay focused. But if no one else will, then I could do it. Okay, guess that's on me then.
I would hope for Crash Me. He's not in the call, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, he might do it. He gets to do it because he's not here to say no.
All right. Let me actually put a note, and at least a note in the issue that we're to capture our plans to provide a dev build with the latest kernel. So what kind of build do you need? PXE boot, regular image?
We do PXE boot.
PXE boot.
But again, I have no problem with then building it by myself.
Gotcha.
Because I have to bring it into our infrastructure at the end anyway, somehow, which is not an issue. But if there's a pull request that builds, I will manage with that. If there's already built image, it's also fine. And already, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's interesting because in the second stack trace you shown, we can see there is a run C mentioned, but not in the first one. So yeah, I'm just trying to brainstorm here and find some ideas. And I've checked on the run C repository. There is some power edge issue related to run C, but yeah, it's not really relevant here. But yeah, might be interesting to have a look here as well.
I mean, a user space program that runs C shouldn't bring down the whole kernel, but
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
No, that's true. But if it would hint at a closer repro case. So I think that's the benefit here. All right.
Interesting.
So we have a next step. See if it repros with 617. And the good news here is, of course, 618 is likely to be the next LTS. So that's gonna go to stable or alpha, beta, and stable as soon as the kernel's out. So that's the new upgrade coming. So long term, there's definitely relief in sight if these kernels fix the bug. Also, what would be interesting is, given that you're talking about multiple data centers and many machines, kind of the meantime between crashes would be nice. Like summing up all of them, if you can share that data, of course. Summing up like all of the hours these machines were running, and then to give us a rough idea, like if it was on a single machine, it would need to run for like this many hours in order for the crash to happen?
If I have the data somewhere,
If you
I
if you don't,
can
that's fine.
check.
I'm just, this can be helpful in,
Oh,
you know, kind of gauging the oddity of the whole issue.
yeah. So our servers get redeployed once a week. On a fixed day, we redeploy all of the servers.
Mhm.
And if I look currently at the data of nearly the last week, I see 6 crashes, and they are spread many hours apart. Like the first one was on the 4th at
Mhm.
3 p.m. The next one was at 4 a.m. on the next day. Day after that at 8 a.m. Then again in the morning at 7 a.m. But then again 3 a.m. in the night and one at 12 p.m. So every day was basically a crash, and they got all redeployed at the same time.
Mhm. And how many servers are we talking about, roughly? If you can share that. If you don't feel confident sharing that, then
No problem. Yeah, for whatever reason, Grafana doesn't provide what I want anymore. So the cluster is roughly 40 servers.
Mhm.
Well, one of them, there are multiple clusters with different sizes. But the servers that crashed were 6 different servers within the last week.
And those are from those 40, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
All different age, so they are not bought in the same charge. I would have to check, but I could even imagine that they have different network adapters in them. But I will double check that. So there's no correlation that I see at the moment.
no, I'm not looking for correlations, just raw, basically time to failure. So we have 40 servers that run 24 hours for 7 days. So a little
And
less.
in that case, the first one started to crash after 2 days, roughly.
Yeah. If you have an even distribution, that doesn't even matter. I just divide it by 7, and then so we have 900 hours meantime between failures. That's kind of the value I'm looking for. Okay. Matthew?
Yeah, since the beginning you have these issues with Flatcar, or did it happen at one point precisely? Did you remember?
It happened at one point probably, because we're running Flatcar for 5 years now.
Okay, good
but
to know.
I can't tell since when it happened. I feel that it happened for already a long time, but it got more often, or we got more servers, more load, I don't know, and now we notice it.
Okay.
Because in theory, the server crashed, it reboots, it's a Kubernetes, it shouldn't matter if the server crashes. That's why we don't even have proper monitoring on that. And most of the time we don't notice. But if there's some stateful workload running on them, it hurts sometimes.
Okay.
Adrian, I sort of picture you surrounded by lots of hardware for some reason. I suppose you've got a Power Edge sitting back there.
All right. Just adding the data we got to the ticket. I'm just writing basically the calculation I did, because I tend to be wrong when I'm wrong. I'd like to be publicly wrong so people can correct me, but roughly, so every 900 hours, one crash. That is very frequent, given that Linux is pretty robust. So it's good to have that number, but it's also not immediate. So, all right. It would be interesting. I think the question that Matthew asked is really, really good. If we could at least kind of ballpark the Flatcar version where it all started. Because if we had that, no, just very roughly, like it started in that quarter, for instance, right? And that gives us a rough idea. And that's because major kernel versions don't change that often in Flatcar, because we usually use LTS. And then we could have you try with like LTS kernel, not the LTS release in Flatcar, sorry. And then we could have you try with an older kernel of an older release and see if it repros, and that would at least give us a starting point where we can then start to bisect. And this way, we actually have a pretty realistic chance, without really understanding the code, to find the change that introduced this issue. And I mean, of course, the closer we are to the actual point where the issue started, the better. But honestly, really, quarter is enough. It's a good point to start.
Yeah, that's the problem. I really don't know. It's for sure for the last half year. I would say that it already happened. Unfortunately, we don't have this data for that long, and due to changing of the chat system, it even gets trickier to get that data. I will try to find out if I have more information.
So in that,
provide that in the ticket.
In that
but
case,
it's
what kernel version do we use in LTS currently? Let me check. Sorry.
Yeah, that's easy. We have 6.12 in beta, and we have 6.6 in stable LTS, and we have 5.15 in the previous LTS. So we could start with the 5.15 on the previous LTS.
The old LTS. That's actually that's a good start. So that's LTS 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's 3.35.10. Let me find it. This one. But it's really old, so yeah, maybe don't run critical workload on it. Just run it as a canary in your deployment, and maybe for 1 week, 2 weeks, and let's see if you experiment the crash as well. But
so 3815 has 6.1, not 5.15.
I share the link in the chat.
Gotcha. Because that's what I wouldn't start with the old LTS then, because I'd start with something that has a 6.1 kernel. Yeah. And that will be the last one. The last release was 3815, and that was in July last year. And after that, we were on 6.6. Actually, that's weird, right? Because I'm sure the issue didn't start August last year, or would you have noticed?
As I said, it probably happened for a while, but we just didn't notice because we don't care usually. I will go through some history to figure out if this can be, and also check when we updated Flatcar, obviously, because at some point we were stuck to an LTS version of Flatcar, but I don't know if the problem was already happening there.
Yeah.
And then later on we changed to a fairly new version. I will dig deeper, but the biggest problem is that we don't have data for that long back.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But I will have a
Oh,
look
Ed, hey,
Hey, Tilo, is it possible that you can get demessage messages out of the crashes so that you can see if there's any hardware issues going on? Because depending on the hardware you're running on, you might be running into aged hardware with hardware faults rather than software faults.
So demessage wouldn't be the worst thing to have. Do you have a way of capturing that?
Well, that's what he has captured, right?
Just with the crash, but before that?
We have the piece.dump, which probably includes the whole demessage. Otherwise, I would have to check if I can access that after.
Piece.dump is. Okay, let me see.
So
just thinking about the vintage of the hardware, that I think that cluster is running on, it's entirely possible that you're dealing with hardware age as a contributing factor. So it might not be software at all.
That would be
Okay.
interesting to see. So if you can share that, like the part of the demessage that comes before it says cut here on the issue, of course review it, because I don't know what data is in there, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's actually that's a nice hint as well.
Yeah, might be possible. I will check and correlate how old all of the servers are that have problems. I think also one of our newer servers crashed, but I'm not 100% sure right now.
And it might make sense to do this bug reporting also on the kernel mailing list or some kind of sublist. They also have this Bugzilla thing. It's really confusing, but I mean, just like upstream, wherever this would be, because you can't really pinpoint the subsystem, right? But yeah, just because it doesn't really look like Flatcar specific. So I mean, it's nice if you do the 6.17 test first, but it's not really necessary to do this, right? Because you're still running a maintained kernel.
Yes.
I need to drop for another call. Thanks all.
All right.
So yeah, thanks. I will look into what we discussed if I can find anything more. So if I have more data, more correlation, so hardware age and so on, and provide it in the ticket. Thank you.
I'm just hammering this in the issue so we don't lose it. Sketch out when this crash has started so we can start bisecting. And the last one was provide full message since boot. To identify hardware faults. All right.
And involves the upstream kernel community.
Yeah.
Instead of like being like on our own as Flatcar.
If you've never
kind of makes sense.
no, that makes sense. But if you've never interacted with the kernel mailing list, it's a ton of noise. People tend to not work on user reported issues they can't repro. And the first response you'll get is please try with the latest kernel release. I don't think it's worth spending that effort at this point in time. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but the ratio of effort spent to actually lay this all out on the mailing list and the likely response that you get, let's do the 617 thing first. So if you could help Chewy with producing a PR for that, I think that's a good start. And then if you still see it on 617, I think that involving the kernel folks will be easier for both us as a project and Christian and his team.
But as Kai suggested, it costs nothing to open a ticket on Bugzilla. I understand the LKML can be a bit confusing for folks, but Bugzilla can be fine. Just open an issue, and if someone else with another distribution has the same issue, maybe with some Google search, you will find the ticket, and maybe more people can jump into. I think it costs nothing to open something on Bugzilla.
That's true. Yeah, actually, opening a ticket on Bugzilla is a low-hanging fruit, and we can cross-reference it with our issue, and you can put our issue even in the Bugzilla issue, so people understand that there's work going on. That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, I will probably, before I do that, run with the latest patch release of the kernel, because I guess this is something I can test, and we will very likely have enough crashes again after that, and then provide the newest data.
And for you to know, you don't need to wait for official releases. If you want to test new kernels, we have the nightlies that builds every night. So you can just download from the bin cache those images, and you can test with non-official images, but nightly built images.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, where do I find them? I looked at it briefly at some point.
That's a good point. They are slightly hidden. So we have a nightly build artifact server, and the address is bincache flatcar linux net. Oh, you posted already the image link. Yeah. You're basically you're looking for the latest image version, because we make up new versions for the nightlies which never get released because they're nightlies. And then developers tend to make up their own versions so they get the images built. So if you find a version 9999, that is not a nightly. They always have nightly in the name, but yeah, it's you can definitely take it from there.
Perfect. I found a release and I will try that out.
So Adrian actually has a nice idea as well. Would it be possible for you to run a low-level memory test thing like memtest on those machines and see if it comes up with something? Now, this stuff needs to be run very early in the boot phase, so it depends on the amount of effort you need to put into that. But that's actually a good idea.
I can run it on one of the machines, probably.
One that had the crashes, that would be sufficient.
Okay. Yeah. I hope, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Hello. Usually memtest is a very time-consuming process because you need to, the error appears once every 2 days. You need to run memtest for 2 days. So it's painful, to say the least.
Yeah, it's possible that we don't have a node running for a week to check the 512 gigs of memory.
Yeah, it's a very costly machine to stay and run memtest, right?
True. Cool. We have a number of items that we can follow up on. That's pretty amazing. Nice. All right. Are you good, or should we discuss more options?
I guess it's fine for now.
Awesome. Just check back with us on metrics and here on the call so we can help you along further.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for bringing this up. All right. We technically do have the release planning, but do we want to discuss the infrastructure move before that, Mathieu?
We can move it to the developer sync. I think it's, or we can talk about infra if you want here, but yeah, usually office hours is more about use cases and release planning. But
true. Yeah. All right.
But we do have a meeting tomorrow morning to discuss about infrastructure. If you want to join, it will be a weekly on every Thursday morning, Central European summertime at 10.
Is it on the Flatcar calendar?
Jan was having a look, but I'm not sure if it's already done.
Yeah, so I just did receive the access to the calendar actually. So
I don't know. On the other, we're still using the old calendar.
Oh, so we would like to put it on the old one or the new
one? We just for now I think let's put it on the Google Calendar because that's what we're still using. Mm-hmm. But eventually we'll switch, and we need to update all of our docs so people see the right calendar. But for now, do you have access to the Google one, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, let's use that one for the time being.
Okay, so I'm gonna
hello. I don't know where to find this calendar.
Let me show. That's a good opportunity actually to show this. 1 second. So I just share a random tab and then use this tab to show you. So on the landing page in the it's in a few of these readmes. I think in contributing is it as well. But on a landing page, if you scroll down a little, you'll find a section participate and contribute. And then where is it? Here. Further down, you find monthly office hours and developer syncs. And then there's a link to the Google Calendar. And you can also directly use an iCal link that is here. So you can import it to your own calendar, or you can switch to the Google Calendar which looks like this. So there isn't much in here. You have the office hours, the developer sync, and our monthly maintenance mode, which is that one that you participated in September. And then in here you will have a link to the Jitsi call and to the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And good question. We need to put it at a more prominent place, but probably after we switch to the CNCF calendar, or else we have to work twice. All right. There's one thing that I want to share regarding the new infra. And for that, I have the audacity to please ask you to switch on all the cameras. So I have a picture of everyone. That would be amazing if you could see you, except the other Tilo, because that's just my Linux machine recording. Oh, we have a new one. We have Manik and we have Adrian. Wow, that looks cool. All right. And the reason I ask you this is a load test of our new infrastructure on Akamai, because this Linux, this Jitsi machine is now running on Akamai. Did just everybody switch off, or did we lose them?
Yeah, I think we have everyone.
Yeah, we're good.
Nice. And just because all of the cameras are suddenly gone.
So maybe it's a performance issue.
Maybe there are performance issues after all. Who knows? Anyways, folks, that's our new video server on Akamai, and we can mix and match and have a larger instance if that really turns out to be a performance issue later on. So yeah, amazing. Then I will go back to the agenda for Cyan for the release planning, if we didn't lose him during the load tests.
He wrote in the chat, I think.
Ah, yes, the mic is
My mic is working. Okay. Can someone else? No, I actually share my tab. Okay. Can someone else read it, because I want to switch to the release planning in the project in the other tab, and I only can look at one tab at a time.
Yeah, I can go ahead. So we have a new release. We will start the build on Friday, and we expect to release on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. There will be a new major for Alpha, which ships the systemd bump. So if you want to have a look and test if you see any regression, that would be nice. We have a few backports on stable, for example, a scaleway issue, but also the last one regarding open ice key. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, a recent issue we got on the tracker. And yeah, usual and package update as usual. We have for the weekly updates.
Nice. Thank you. All right. Anything else you folks want to discuss before we call it a day?
We can talk a little bit about the CNCF updates.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, you left a comment at the issue. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a few good news. We did officially and practically finish our onboarding. So we are officially incubating and working towards being graduated. All of our domains have been transferred. That is the ownership to CNCF. That basically means that the Flatcar as a thing is kind of publicly community owned, and that it will stay that way. Thanks to Matthew, we did figure out how to use CNCF's buckets, which are very nice because that allows us to store our images. We are migrating to the new calendar, as kind of mentioned earlier. However, as we just discussed, it's going to be staying for a little while with the Google one. And things in progress right now that are happening are mainly the continued efforts when it comes to the standardization, which is also kind of required from us. So in the near future, it is a Terraform pull request I'm working on. We will be deploying something called the Safe Settings app. If you would like to, you can basically open the first link, I think, the Deploy Safe Settings app 1892. It's going to probably be easiest.
Okay.
It's a GitHub app written by GitHub itself and maintained by them. It basically allows you to deploy a Docker container that, based on infrastructure as code type of configuration, that is basically a YAML file with settings you would like to have in your organization or each individual repository. It basically just allows you to define all of it in like a few very simple configuration files. So we will be adding that. This basically means that there's going to be like one short in length PR, however, one that can potentially like change everything. So it will be, to be basically it's like kind of like looked at by everyone, just to make sure nothing's going to be broken. And yeah, that's kind of how it looks like. You have like rule sets, PRs, definition, what can be done, how many reviews are needed, and so on and so on. If you go back and open the example PR in the
This one.
yeah, this one. Yeah, this is basically how a change looks like. It is like this kind of Terraform style where you have the changes that will be done by the bot itself written out. So like, hey, in this repository, I'm gonna change this, and that. Here's how it's gonna look like. So we'll be rolling this out in the near future. So this is kind of a heads up. Yeah, and as Lex wanted to mention, we are sorting out our presence at KubeCon North America. She did order our swag, and so if anyone is coming, they're invited to stop by the project pavilion. And yeah, that's mostly it.
Nice. This is great stuff. I just recognized just now, you shared that earlier, but because I looked at the YAML, I recognized the settings app, and I did work with it before. It's nice. Like, it moves some of the clicky stuff from the GitHub web user interface into YAML. And it's kind of a nice way to streamline stuff across a whole org. Yeah, it's nice. Okay. Yeah, thanks for speaking up. I entirely forgot to comment on the agenda. Sorry for that. That's a very important work. Awesome. All right. Anything else? Yeah.
We had a couple of Mac OS related issues. Mitika was looking at one. I can't remember what the other one was. Jan, I think you were maybe going to look at it. Oh, I remember now. It was VirtualBox. Were you able to do that?
So unfortunately, I am no longer basically able to access my MacBook. Like, long story short, and honestly, the documentation that was linked by the person, I should try to get like some logs from them, but like basically no response. If you look at the docs, it's just saying like do this, and like at each step, it's saying it's like deprecated. So like it is kind of hard to like even say what this person did, honestly, exactly, like without the logs and so on. So yeah.
Okay. I wondered if Mitika, since she has a Mac, whether she'd be interested, but I don't know how you got on with the first issue yet. So
The issue that I got in my Mac was when I was booting up using QUMU, it was really slow. So during the last maintenance meetup, Tilo created an issue for that using some accelerator uh, for uh, for increasing the for decreasing the time for the boot up process. So I'm actually looking into that, how it works and everything, because I didn't work on bash scripting up to the level of Flatcar. So I'm just looking around and working on that.
Sure. Well, if you need any more help, just let us know.
Yeah, sure.
So I just gonna share the issue in the chat. So there's a quick workaround. Like if you just wanna have things work fast on your Mac, on the command line that you're using to start Flatcar, after the very last thing that you write, just add -xl hvf, and that will make it very fast right away. Because this is what we want to work into the script, right? So we want to make the script recognize, oh, I'm actually running on a Mac. I need to add that to my own command line later on. But if you're trying something entirely different, if you're not working on that one issue, this command line addition will make it very fast for you.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Any other topics people want to discuss? All right, then I'd like to ask you once again, please switch on your cameras, because I want to know if we really did an overload on the server. I don't think so. I think just everybody switched off their cameras roughly at the same time, but maybe I'm wrong.
I didn't switch mine off at all. It wasn't that.
Oh, so it was switched off for you. All right, then.
I mean, I could still see everybody, but is it on the feed that it cuts out, or
maybe it was just me?
Oh, maybe.
I think so, because like for me it was also just fine.
It actually is me, because I'm looking at the live stream right now and I see more faces. Curious. All right. Today I learned. All right, folks. Then have a great time. See you on Metrics and maybe to the DevSync in 2 weeks, or even to the infrastructure meeting tomorrow morning.
Okay.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye.